We will be watching Istanbul very closely today, and here are live pictures, in fact, of the downtown of that city. That's where we expect the signing of a deal that could have a major impact on the global food supply and prices, because it should free up millions of tons of grain exports stuck in Black Sea ports by Russia's war on Ukraine. Abby Kugavasan is live in London with those details for us this morning. Abby, the deal, what do we know about it so far?
Heather, we'll have more specifics after they sign that deal later today, but the tentative agreement after the latest round of talks show all parties will play a part. Ukrainian vessels will accompany the grain ships through the heavily mined Black Sea. Russia has agreed not to target those ports while these shipments are in transit, and Turkey, with the support of the United Nations, will then inspect the vessels because the Kremlin suspects these grain ships could be used to get weapons back into Ukraine. And so why has Moscow agreed to this deal? Well, Russia is getting assurances that it can export its grain and fertilizer without issue. The United States has even said that it could provide comfort letters to shipping and insurance companies, even though agricultural products aren't under sanctions. This is the plan on paper right now. It should be signed later this afternoon in Istanbul. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will oversee the signing, a major development if it happens. But we have to remember, this isn't a peace deal or even an indication that one may be on the horizon. We heard Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in the last 48 hours saying that his country only plans to ramp up military operations in Ukraine. But this deal is still crucial because, as you said, millions of tons of grain will finally get to places where people desperately need them, Heather.
Abby, we talk about Ukraine as being a breadbasket, and there are big concerns about the war in Ukraine having far-reaching impacts on countries around the world. Just remind us how important grain from that country is.
Yeah, Ukraine, before this war, was the fifth largest exporter of wheat. Both Russia and Ukraine are major wheat exporters. So this is a deal to help feed people in many parts of the world and prevent further famine. The pandemic, along with adverse weather, has driven up food prices, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine has added to the global food crisis. We heard from the UN deputy spokesperson, and he talked about the significance of this deal. Let's have a listen.
As you know, we've pointed out for many months how serious the food crisis around the world is. And this is a component, a large component of that crisis. So if we can resolve this, we can potentially save hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people from having food be priced out of their reach.
This agreement now is not just about getting Ukrainian grain out of the country, but to ensure that Russia can ship its grain and fertilizer to both of these countries. Supplied more than a quarter of the world's wheat before this war. Many North African and Middle Eastern countries rely on them, so much so that the World Food Program says this war could mean some 47 million people are pushed into acute food insecurity. So this deal is about ensuring that millions and millions are saved from that fate.
Ukraine, Russia, Turkey, the UN Secretary General, as you say, Abby, we will be watching for that today. Thank you very much, Abby Kugadasan in London.